Hello, and welcome to another episode of Enough Said. I'm your host, Cedric Newbern, and I'm excited to come to you today and talk to you about a topic that really hits home for me again, and it's called seeking approval. Now, seeking approval comes in many forms, many fashions, but it really hit me the other day. I'm at my son's basketball game where he is a volunteer coach. So, for perspective, my son has been playing basketball since he was 5. And the very first program that he joined was called Upward Basketball. And what Upward does is it brings children with various backgrounds, various skill levels together on the court, and it teaches them not only basketball skills, but it teaches them life skills and ways that they can be better humans. It is a Christian-based organization, so they even have Bible study and they get rewarded for memory verses and so forth. And so it's just a great way to really teach values to young people and put them in an environment where it doesn't matter how great they are, they're not being necessarily rewarded for their greatness, they're being rewarded for who they are and their character. So fast forward now that my son is playing high school basketball, and we thought it's time for him to start giving back, get involved and volunteer. And we thought, what a great way than to have him on the sidelines and coaching third and fourth graders in basketball. And I will tell you that he loves it. He connects really well with young people. And if nothing else, just the high fives and the conversations on the bench. And I think his favorite thing is that after practice, they always ask him to dunk the basketball, and the kids get a big kick out of it. But at this particular game, my son's on the bench coaching, and I'm watching these third and fourth grade kids running up and down the court. Now, what was really funny though, they don't really blow the whistle unless, of course, a kid steps out of bounds or if they're guarding too far in the backcourt. So as you can imagine, there's lots of double dribbles and carries and passes that are intercepted. And frankly, they can be hilarious. But I started to notice something. Every time a kid went down the court, the second they took a shot, if the ball did not go in, they would turn and either look at the bench to see the coach's reaction, or they would look in the audience to see their parents and their family's reaction to the shot. And it was as if they waited to see the response that they got from the coach, from their teammates, and from their family to determine how they were going to react to what had happened. Now, there are some kids that are out there that are a little more competitive than others. And so they, of course, went into the grandiose frustration. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed that shot. There's a couple that did that. But even those kids turned and looked to get the feedback from the coach, from their teammates, and from the audience, and especially their parents and family. Now, when a kid makes the shot, of course, they jump first, but then they pause and they would look to the bench to see their coach and see their teammates and to see their parents and their families' reactions before they would continue in the celebration. It's almost as if they needed approval before they could be either disappointed in their shot or excited and celebrating their shots. Now, I have to say that what Upward really does a great job is they really celebrate everything. So even if a child misses a shot, there's not going to be this, oh my gosh, use the backboard, hit the ball in the square. There's none of that that really goes on. I might have done that as a coach when I was helping my son out. But for the most part, you don't get a lot of that in this Upward program. What you do get is a lot of celebration. In fact, both teams celebrate when a child makes a shot who has struggled to make shots throughout the game. So that's not uncommon. But I just wanted to put this in perspective because it's interesting to me that as children playing basketball, they're looking to their coach and their parents to figure out whether or not they should celebrate the success that they had or be concerned about any mistakes that they made. And it was in that moment that I realized that as an adult, I've done the exact same thing. So I started looking and doing some research on this whole idea about seeking approval and talking to friends about it. And it's interesting, there's some common threads. And I found this website, Psych Central, that really spoke to me in terms of just even definition and some ways that you can improve and improve on this idea or overcome this need for approval. So number one, by definition, low self-esteem and neglectful experiences with your first caregivers may make you constantly need and seek approval as adults. That's according to Psych Central. And by definition, approval is believing that something is good, enough, or acceptable. Approval is believing that something is good enough or acceptable. So when we seek approval, we're really asking for affirmation from others that we are good enough and that we're acceptable. And this need really comes from low self-esteem, which we know may be the result from childhood experiences and other traumas that give us this false belief of our own unworthiness. As a child, I dealt with abandonment issues and even bullying. And much of that really devalued my own opinion of myself. I questioned who I was. I questioned whether or not I belonged. I questioned whether or not I was good enough. And why was I not wanted? Even as an adult, I've had experiences that again confirm those childhood beliefs that I just was not wanted, nor was I worthy. So if in your childhood you experienced abuse of any kind or emotional neglect, these could truly be the contributing factors to low self-esteem and this strong desire that we have to seek approval. Now, they listed out some approval-seeking behaviors, and they include things like finding it hard to make a decision, whether it be a big decision or a small decision, without getting others to weigh in on it. Now, I'll admit, I am not one of those people that makes unilateral decisions. I have found that I would rather have other people give me feedback before doing so. Now, fact is, that is a great leadership quality, right? That's a skill that I've developed over time, but that's also a behavior of someone that seeks approval. Because guess what happens if I go to someone else with my decision and they tell me, I don't think that's a great idea? Then I get in my feelings and then I change my decision based on that feedback. Another behavior might be feeling sad, happy, guilty, or even anxious, depending on whether or not others approve of you. What about seeking excessive reassurance that you've done or that you're doing the right thing? What about feeling less than confident about your decisions that you've made in the past or even decisions that you have to make? And this is one that I've coached people on, but rejecting opportunities and experiences that you want simply because you're worried whether or not others will approve. Launching this podcast was one of those opportunities for me. I questioned whether or not others might dial in and get something out of this. So I was worried whether or not others would approve of even sharing enough said with you. And last, they mentioned feeling ashamed if someone questions or dislikes your works, actions, or your decisions. Now, I'll tell you, I used to cut the grass. That was my thing to do on Friday mornings. And I can tell you, I would get out there, I'd cut the grass, I'd spend quite a bit of time on the yard because I really want my yard to look nice. But if my wife didn't say anything to me about how good the yard looked by that evening, I was a little worried. Something as simple as cutting the grass, right? You can't really mess that up. And it really holds no value in terms of the dynamics of my marriage, right? And yet here I was anxiously awaiting her approval of the grass and how clean it was. And of course, if she made a comment that said that it wasn't perfect, there's that perfectionism thing again. There I go thinking, man, how can I improve upon this? What do I need to do to make sure that she's happy with the grass next week when I cut it? Or maybe I can get back out there and fix what she saw because I didn't see it. So these are behaviors. And if you identify with any of these behaviors around approval seeking, they did give some tips on how you can overcome the need for approval. Number one, you've got to cultivate awareness. Understand that this is a challenge for you. And then maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to notice what the root cause of this approval seeking might be. And that'll help you figure out what's driving this need. I know in my case, it was the abandonment and some of the bullying that I experienced growing up, that I realized that, oftentimes I'm seeking approval from others largely because I want to feel wanted. I feel rejected, and you make me feel wanted by affirming me. Number two, celebrating successes. And I think I'll do a whole podcast just on that because I think we all struggle with this at times. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a segment of the population that has no problem celebrating successes. In fact, they may claim success from some other people as their own. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about those of us that have a hard time often celebrating the greatness that's within ourselves. You've got to celebrate yourself so that you don't feel the need for someone else to celebrate you. My wife is a great example of this. She could care less, or as they say, she couldn't care less what others think of her. And it amazes me that she's just so confident in that space. Now, she lacks confidence in other areas, but there's one thing that I know about her is that she has the ability to celebrate successes. And no, she's not running down the street with a banner. She's not on social media bragging about herself, but she celebrates when she has a win. And as I've said, and I will continue to say, success is defined by you, not by someone else. So when you are celebrating the successes that you've defined for yourself, it makes a difference. Number three, enjoying solitude. Again, this is another one where my wife has done an amazing job of coaching and modeling behavior for me. I do not like to spend time alone, but in fact, solitude gives you such clarity. There's a need to spend time alone so that, frankly, you can improve your relationship with yourself. Now, I am one of those people. I like people. I like to be around people. I like to be in the midst of things. But frankly, when I do spend time with myself, whether it's reading, meditating, praying, just listening to music, it's amazing the things that come to mind. On a walk, driving in my car, finding that time with myself allows me to love myself even more. Number four, positive affirmations. You've got to create mantras that you say to yourself daily. Things like, I am worthy. I have value. I am capable of making good decisions. Having a mantra, having positive affirmations that you speak daily help to change the mindset and even your emotional makeup towards yourself. And number five, probably the most important tip that they have given on this site is seeking therapy. Now, I will tell you, please do not go it alone. I repeat, do not go at this alone. Find a professional that can help you unpack that need that you have for approval and uncover some of the issues that you're dealing with around self-worth. Trust me when I tell you, the professionals can help you locate that root cause and help you process it in a way that allows it to no longer control your beliefs in yourself. It'll help you move forward and reduce this need that you have for approval. So with that, I want to leave you with a final thought that will likely be a final thought for every episode of Enough Said. Remember, you are wonderfully made and created for a specific purpose. Now, I want to encourage you, and I'm excited because I know that you are valuable. You are truly valuable. In fact, I would take that one step further and tell you that you are invaluable. So believe that, believe in yourself, and know that your success is defined by you. That is enough said. I hope to see you in other episodes. You can find me on YouTube and various social media platforms and anywhere where you listen to podcasts. Thank you and have an amazing day.